This call is being recorded.
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Phyllis Nash. I am one of the four co founders here at Akana. Really glad to be representing this morning. I had it all planned out. I thought our phenomenal speaker, Dan Johnson, was still going to be away, but I saw on Facebook that he was on his way back to Chicago from his birthday solo celebration and some much needed rest and relaxation and meditation time. So, the call I had planned for today, we're going to put it off to Friday. My speaker was ready, but we want to hear all about this fantabulous time to himself. Hopefully, he's ready to share. I see him on here. So, we are being graced. We're probably one of the first groups to hear him since he has come back from his solo happy birthday celebration. So, Dan Johnson, I've unmuted you. Take it away.
All right. Good morning, Akana family. Good morning. Good morning, my Miss Phyllis. I trust and pray everybody is having a wonderful morning so far. I know what do you mean, Coach Dan, just getting started. But listen, I'm telling you, if you wake up with the mindset that today is wonderful, I'm having a wonderful day right now. I'm telling you, it will set the trajectory for the rest of your day. It is good to be back home. I pulled up in my driveway last night, Miss Phyllis, at about 1 o'clock a.m. Yes, I absolutely had a phenomenal time in my undisclosed location, somewhere between Jamaica and the Bahamas. And it was good to just be able to move as I desired to move, do what I want to do whenever, eat whatever I wanted to eat, go where I wanted to go. And the only person that I had to be accountable for was myself. And why is these moments so important? And so I wasn't going to talk about this, but then Phyllis kind of said, let's share. She kind of segued me into um, having this dialogue. So I'm going to go ahead and have it. But I want to thank all of you for your birthday wishes and things of that nature. I'm really a humble guy. I really don't speak about myself often, but I will say this, that I am proud to look in the mirror and be able to say 48 looks really good on me. Matter of fact, it looks so good people don't believe that that's my age. And so, that's kind of the vein that I like to be in. But why would it? Why was it? Why would 48 look so good on me at this stage of my life when I personally believe that 42, 43, 44, and all of those years did not look as good. And one of the things that I'm realizing, and one of the things that I shared, is the fact with people, and I even shared it on Facebook, is that until you choose yourself, until you make a commitment to um, self care, you won't ever be able to really live the kind of life that you want to live. And what I've learned about even moments taking a trip like that by yourself is one of the things that I've learned that sometimes we need to be left alone. What does that mean? Sometimes you need to be left alone with yourself to really get to know yourself. Sometimes you need to be left alone to really evaluate some things about yourself that you may not have realized. And sometimes these things are not that good. If I could just tell you the truth. Have you ever looked in the mirror and said something and realized something about yourself that you knew that wasn't good, but you never given yourself time to work on it to make it better? And until you choose you, nobody else will. And so these are some of the mindsets and the ideologies that I've had throughout this journey of really beginning to become self-aware. And being self-aware does not mean that you're selfish. Being self-conscious does not mean that you're selfish. Being concerned about yourself does not make you selfish. Sometimes, I don't know if this is anybody on the line, but there were many times in my life where I felt guilty about choosing me. I felt guilty about buying myself something. I felt guilty. I would have felt guilty about taking this trip on my own just last year. And people around you may make you feel guilty. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to make decisions that's best for you. You got to be able to be bold enough to care enough about yourself, regardless of how it may impact somebody else. You know, they say every time you get on a plane that you got to secure your mask first before you secure the mask of somebody else. Why are they saying that? They're saying because at the end of the day, you only got a few moments to secure if in an unlikely event of a drop in the cabin pressure and oxygen is not available and they pull that oxygen tank down, that oxygen mask down, you got a few moments before you lose consciousness. So they're saying secure you and then help somebody else. Because if you try to help somebody else first and you haven't helped yourself, you both have the potential of dying. And I really believe that that's the whole truth in life. So, but here's what I want to tell you. Here's another reason why I want to tell you it's so important to treat yourself. And again, I didn't plan on talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it in this moment. When I landed back into the States, it was probably like 1,000 people flowing through this airport, Atlanta, coming through customs. And what I realized is, number one, bad management. It was a terrible management. It was a terrible experience, the most terrible experience I ever had flying back into the country. And I've flown back into the country a million times. But at any rate, there was a young man from the time we got on, when we were getting off the plane, there was this young man that continued. He had to catch a flight. And he was very timid about asking people to allow him to come through. I'm saying from the time we were on the plane to the time we're now in these lines, the special services, I qualify for all of that stuff, so I shouldn't have been in the line, but they didn't have anything available at the time. And it was just, again, it was terrible. So we're weaving through the line and I'm talking to him and he's constantly talking about the fact that he is going to miss his flight. I am going to miss my flight. I am going to miss my flight. I am going to miss my flight. So everything about his behavior was based on the fact that he was going to miss his flight. And I said to him, I said, why are you accepting the fact that you're going to miss your flight? And he said, look at all these people. He said, and look, and he showed me what time his flight was. And he told me what time it was. He said, I'm going to miss my flight. I said, why don't you ask that person right there? And when I told him to ask this person, it was a representative for the airport. Show them that you're going to, that you got a flight to catch. Well, he showed the person that he had a flight to catch. The person didn't care about him having a flight to catch. She literally did not care. She said, I'm sorry, sir, you have to wait in line like everyone else. And if you miss your flight, then you're going to have to work with whatever airline you're flying and see if you can fly out tomorrow. That was her response to him. And he took it. And he's going through, and he's still going through the line. And he's like, man. So now he's trying to figure out other flights that's going to fly out the next day because he had accepted the fact that he was going to miss his flight. And I said to him, I said, listen, if I was you, and I'm not you, but I will care. I said, I would not accept missing my flight. He said, what am I supposed to do? I said, you crawl your tail up under each one of these ropes and you say, excuse me, I got a flight to catch. He said, but I don't want to disturb the other people. I don't want to, and he said, I don't want to disturb the other people. He said, I don't want to upset the other people. I said, well, if you don't want to upset the other people, then you ought to settle with being okay and not complain about missing your flight, because you care more about what other people think about you than you do yourself to be able to catch this flight so that you can get back home. Now, this is the conversation I'm having with a grown man standing in line because I'm just Dan Johnson. That's the type of stuff I do. And so he started breathing. You think I could? I said, the question is not if you can. The question is, will you? Will you choose you today? Will you? It's not whether or not you can. The question is if you will. Well, what happens if somebody get upset? You apologize that they're upset, but you don't make an apology for the fact that you have to catch your flight. And so he kept going through a little bit more. I said, listen, most times people pay me to push them. I'm going to push you today for free. You got to stop and think about you for a moment, and you got to go. And I showed him exactly what to do. And finally, he said, I'm going to tell you what he said. Now, I won't say it. Y'all can use y'all imagination. But he said, F it. I'm going to do it. And when he said that, he began to move. And within a matter of about 4 to 5 minutes, he had navigated over 200 some odd people or more. It could have been more than that. And he was at the front of the line. And I'm sure at that point, he made his flight. The purpose of this story that I didn't even intend to tell you was to help you to understand a couple of things. Number one, you got to make a decision that's best suited for you. Number two, you have to accept the reality and the fact that everybody is not going to like your decision, and it may not make everybody that you've been trying to please all your life feel good. Number three, if you don't make the decision for you, what are the consequences? His consequence was missing his flight. His consequence was not only missing his flight, but his consequence would have been he had to stay stay at the airport that night, or he was going to have to get a hotel. His consequence would have been if he had to work the next day, he was going to miss work. Well, the question that I have for you that you got to ask yourself, what happens if you don't choose you? What happens if a Dan Johnson did not choose him? Not to take a trip, but did not choose him in the process of a lot of decisions that he has been making that has the ability to impact a lot of people and a lot of relationships. However, I am at the best state of mind that I've been in years. And because I'm at the best state of mind that I've been in years, then it transcends through everything else that I do. Are y'all catching this? So, number one, you got to make a decision to choose him. Number two, he has to accept the fact that everybody is not going to be happy with his decision. Number three, he had to consider the consequences. What happens if you don't choose you? And number four, y'all excuse me, give Coach Dan, quote unquote Pastor Dan. That's why I tell y'all, just call me Dan, because I may say something one day that y'all may think is not appropriate for the Pastor Dan. But number four, he finally said, F it, forget about it. I'm going to do it. And when he did it, he was able to accomplish the goal that he has set for himself. When you choose you and you stay committed to you. You stay committed to your goal. You stay committed to your dream. You stay committed to your why. You stay committed to your work. When you choose you and you stay committed to you, you'll begin to see and get to know a you that you never knew ever existed. Or watch this, here comes one even better. You never even knew could be your reality. Because some of us only get to know us in our dreams. And whenever we wake up from that dream, we step into a reality that says it was only a dream. I hope that this is helpful for somebody this morning. I want to encourage you that the vision you have for yourself don't just have to be a vision. It can be a reality. I got another vision for myself, y'all, and I'm telling you, I like the vision, but I don't like the process. And that is, so we've lost weight. Thank God. We trimmed down. Thank God. It's been a process. Many of you on the phone, on this call have done the same thing. You made a commitment to yourself and you're taking care of yourself. That's good. But what's next? Because if I don't get a vision for what's next, I'll get comfortable for where I am and it will become stagnated. It will begin to stagnate my growth. So the question I have for you is, what's next? You've reached that goal now. I'm about 4 pounds away from what my desired goal is. So the question becomes, what's next? For me, what's next is muscle tone. But in order to get to that, I got to work harder to get to muscle tone than I did to losing weight. Why is that? Because I really, really, really got to do something I don't like. And that's work out on a consistent basis. I got to lift some weight. I got to do calisthenics. I got to do all this stuff, and I can't stand it. But I got to choose me in the process. So that's the next phase. Don't ever become comfortable at the point you reach the goal. Because at that point that you become comfortable, at the point that you reach the goal, you become stagnated. And you stop reaching for future goals. And then that means you stop progressing. Listen, again, I hope this was helpful. This was right off the dome, which most of our talks are. I didn't expect to talk about this, but hopefully it was helpful to somebody. Whatever you do today, whatever choice you make today, I want you to make the most important choice of your life. And that choice is choosing yourself. All right. I'm done. I'm going to give this to Miss Phyllis.
Yeah, well, I'm going to keep on going off the top of my head and saying, hey, tell us about your trip. Thank you so much. And the message today, the message I got, y'all, is choose you. I'm going to choose me and hope you guys do the same. But while you're doing it, push. Thank you, Coach Dan, Pastor Dan, my friend Dan. Thank you so much. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Be blessed. Prosper.
Bye, y'all. Hey, Wednesday. Wait a minute, y'all. Crystal, talk about Wednesday. What's going on? Because this is part of choosing you. Okay, go for it.
Yep. So today, as a reminder, everybody, is our Wednesday night wellness workshop and Elevation Spa experience. We're actually going to do a sneak peek at the EE Center right at 6 o'clock. So get your guests there at 6, because if they're not there at 6, they're not going to get the sneak peek. Right after we do the sneak peek, then we're going to go upstairs and start the actual elevated awakening their senses. But we're going to start the spa. So be there or be square. We're going to be there at 6 o'clock. Thanks, everybody.
Bye now. Push, 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 push.